I'm Les,
And I'm Ree. This is Not That Kind of Book Club.
a bookish podcast where we read it so you don't have to. Hello everyone, it is Les and Ree, and we are so excited because we have a guest today.
We do. We're very excited to announce that Nisha Tuli is here on Zoom with us. Hi, Nisha.
Hi.
Hello, we are so excited to have you, and we get to talk all about you today. So bear with us, we have a ton of questions. So let's get into it, Ree.
Right off the hop, what have you just read? What are you reading? And what is up next on your TBR?
Oh my God. Suddenly I don't remember anything I've read in my entire life. Okay, let me pull up my Goodreads because that's
Hey, that's the best way to do it.
The
That's what I
only
have to do as
way-
well.
Okay, I just read The Heart's Gambit by J.D. Mile, which is a book that's coming next year.
Ooh.
One of the fun things about being an author is you get to read all the books ahead of time. So I was blurbing it for her. It's like the Night Circus meets Caraval.
Oh,
Kind
that's
of
gonna
like
be
two people
awesome.
have to compete against each other in like this fantastical circus setting. It was really beautiful.
Amazing.
I'm currently reading Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood.
Yep.
Yes.
And then I don't know what's next on my TBR. What have I got on my Libby? I've got I'm gonna read I got abducted by aliens and now I'm trapped in a rom-com next
Okay, that actually
By Kimberly
sounds so
Lemming.
good.
by Kimberly Lemming. Yeah.
I swear, every time we ask somebody this, they'll like tell us books, and I'm like, okay, instantly let me pull out my phone and add that to Goodreads because that sounds really good.
Yeah, that sounds like an awesome book to be reading.
Okay, Ree, what did you just finish reading? What are you currently reading? And what's next?
Ooh, okay. What did I just finish reading? Well, obviously Not Safe for Work. Just finished up with that one. I'm currently reading Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Smith. Nice little summer read. It's up on the shelf.
Taylor Jenkins Reid.
Taylor Jenkins Reid,
I
right?
was like, where did you get Smith
There we go.
from?
I don't know where Smith came from. And then up next is going to be our book club picks. So we'll talk about that in the next episode.
Okay.
What about you? Read,
Well-
reading, TBR?
Well, clearly, I just finished Not Safe for Work, but I also just finished the book that I was telling you was dragging on. So I finished Brutal Game by Jill Brenner. I was apparently in like a hockey romance time period, and
Yep.
I think I'm finally out of it. The one that I'm currently reading right now is The Off Limits Rule, and then next is Caught Up by Nevessa Allen, because I may have already purchased the audiobook because it has Teddy Hamilton. Why not? So, yeah, that's mine.
Very cool. All right, Nisha, let's talk more about you. Tell us, who is Nisha?
Oh, well, that's a pretty broad question.
I know.
Yes.
Give us the Cliff's Notes version of who Nisha is.
I guess these days I am a romantasy / contemporary romance author. I live in Winnipeg, so I know I'm pretty close to you guys, which is kind of fun. I'm a mom. I have 2 kids that are 10 and 13, and
Ooh.
I don't know, that's about it.
I was gonna say 10 and 13. That's a fun.
Yeah.
Those are fun ages.
Those are
It is a
busy
fun age,
ages.
actually.
Yeah,
They're
it's
very like
busy ages.
busy, but like they're independent and they're
Yeah.
just like interesting human beings that are like becoming who they are, and I love watching it. I think it's
Yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
And my daughter, she's the 13-year-old, is getting so into romance books lately, and I'm just like,
Ooh.
I will take you to Chapters and buy you anything you want. Like,
Yeah. Okay. No limits on like what kind
yeah,
of
no limits on
romance books.
Oh, I love
And
that.
she's like, really? I'm like, yeah, books are, I'll buy you whatever you want.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Do you want to adopt me for a day and take me to Chapters? Let's go.
Seriously.
Let's pick all the books.
Yeah, take me to the Winnipeg McNally Robinson. I want to see
Yeah,
it.
it's McNally, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, does it look similar to the one in Saskatoon?
I've never been to the one in Saskatoon. I'm not sure.
What? Well, the next
No.
time you're down here for
should
any
go,
of
yeah.
your book events, you should check it out.
Yeah.
I
Oh.
I love it. I love McNally.
Yeah. There's
It
a
is a
large
great-
tree inside.
Oh yeah, the one in Winnipeg has a big tree too. Maybe
Hmm.
they are similar.
Nice. Okay. Maybe they got the
Okay.
same thing. So
Yeah.
then,
Yeah.
keeping talking about you, Nisha, what led you to be a writer?
Oh gosh. Well, I mean, I originally was an engineer,
Yes.
which you kind of manifests itself in not safe for work. But and then I graduated from the University of Calgary many years ago, and
Mm-hmm.
I got transferred to Winnipeg. With that, I was working in construction with cement and concrete, and I was like,
What?
I cannot do this for the rest of my life.
Hmm.
And I like took an evening, like a creative writing evening class, just, I don't know, for something to do. Had moved to Winnipeg. I didn't know anybody who lived here. Like I was in my 20s. I was kind of lonely and I needed something to do. So I took this class and I found out about this creative communications program at the local college that was like a 2-year program. And I was like, that sounds kind of fun. Like, what if I applied for that? What would happen? And then I did, and then I got in, and I wasn't supposed to get in because they were like, we only have like 2 spots, and
Oh, wow.
if you, they had to do like this whole like test and this project, and they're like, if you don't get in this year, we might get put you in next year, and then they were like, okay, you're in. So I was like, okay, this must be a
Whoa.
sign. Anyway, so then I kind of worked in marketing. I worked for the Winnipeg Free Press for a while. I worked for
Mm-hmm.
a few magazines. I worked in marketing for many years. I was working for Travel Manitoba when the pandemic hit, managing their social media and marketing teams. And then, like that summer of 2020, I was kind of like just reading a lot because, we all had time on our hands. So we had, and like you guys probably had a similar situation that we did. Like we felt pretty insulated here. Like we weren't really, nobody was getting sick. Like it felt pretty, just, and everyone was just traveling the province. And I was like, well, you're not getting any younger. My kids were home. My husband wasn't traveling.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, I sat down that summer and I wrote Hard and Fire, which was the first book I ever wrote.
Hmm.
And I don't know, just from that moment on, like a fire lit under my butt. And I was just like, I did a bit of research. I had no idea how you published a book. I had no clue. I mean, I live in the middle of nowhere. I didn't even know if this was possible, but like the pandemic kind of made everything go online in a way that hadn't existed before. So it like opened up all kinds of accessibility to the publishing world that I don't think really existed to that same degree until 2020. And I don't know, and the prevailing wisdom is always like when you are not, is to write the next book, write the next book. So I did. I just kept like writing the next book. I looked for an agent. I originally thought I would go trad publishing first. I didn't really know anything about indie publishing or that it
Mm-hmm.
existed yet. So like I looked for an agent and then those books went on sub and that Hard Night and Fire went on sub for like a year and a half. And I was just like, this is so painful. I wrote Not Safe for Work. That one went on sub and it sat like on sub for a year. And I'm like, what? I'm like tired of waiting for someone else to tell me I can publish a book. So then I had started reading romantasy, but indie books. And I was like, wait
Mm-hmm.
a minute, like, this is a thing that's like, and it was really starting to take off on the indie side. And I was like, well, I could do this. So I decided to write a book specifically to indie publish. And I published a couple little ones. And then Trial of the Sun Queen, I published in 2022. And that took off. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Wow. So, how many books have you published now?
So now with Not Safe for Work is book 12 that's out.
Wow.
In
I,
like 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, I published the first ones in 2022. So like in about 3 years, three and
oh
a
my
bit.
God.
Wow.
That is
It's
impressive.
been crazy.
Yeah.
I was actually
It's
just gonna
been,
say, considering like just kind of in that 2020, 2021 area, like, dang, girl.
That's
yeah, it's
amazing.
been nuts,
Claps for
like
you.
insane.
Seriously, that
I
is
was just like,
so
I was
impressive.
determined to make this happen. I just was just like, I don't know. I've never felt like that about anything in my life. And I mean, I quit my job. At first, I
Hmm.
changed jobs because they wanted us to go back to the office. And I was like, I'm never going back to the office again. This is horrible. So then I had another job for like 6 months and then I got laid off. And then that was like the summer of 2022, I guess, or 20.
Hmm.
Yeah. And my husband was like, you keep dancing around this. Like, just don't find another job and see how this goes.
Yeah, just pull the trigger.
Yeah. So I've been full time for almost, yeah, about 3 years now, almost 3 years. So like,
Wow.
it's been, that part's really nice
Well, and I
not to
feel
have to.
like the right moment and the right time kind of aligned there
Yeah.
too, right? And like
Yeah, it was a little
it was
bit of
like
a
a
perfect
sign.
storm and like, yeah,
Yeah,
lots of hard work, but also being in the right place at the right time. Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so
Yeah.
kind of going back on one of the things you said where like you started reading romantasy books. What was one that that you read that was kind of not necessarily the what do you want to call it, the influence for starting to write, but what was one of those like first romantasy books that you read?
I mean, in during that time, like I mean, obviously I was reading Sarah J. Maas like everybody
Yeah.
does, but like Raven Kennedy,
Hmm.
Natalia Jaster, her Kiss the Fae, I really loved that
Okay.
book and it was one of the first indie books I read, and I was like, I love that. Um, Even just like, yeah, I mean, most of them are indie because Trad Pub was not picking up books like, despite the
Hmm.
success of SJM and stuff like that. They just were not picking up books like that yet at
Yeah.
that moment. I mean, now they're gobbling them up left and right, but
Oh yeah.
at that
Yeah.
moment. So I don't know. It was a lot of influences. I mean, I was a Twilight girly too, and I always loved
Yeah.
fantasy. And um, yeah, I don't know. It all just sort of came together there.
Well, and I was gonna say, I feel like dependent on like, I don't want to say age, but dependent on that period of growing up, you had different books. Like my generation, yeah, we had Harry Potter. We then kind of moved into the Hunger Games and Divergent and
Hmm.
Twilight, all kind of within that era or that time frame. And now you
Yeah, I
look at
mean,
it, yeah, and like those were all huge influences, and I absolutely loved them. And now there's a lot more, and there's so many people that have never read Harry Potter, and it kind of hurts my soul a little bit.
not really a fan anymore. I gotta say, I don't
You know what? That's fair.
Yep, that's
It's just,
so
can't really
yeah,
say that
understandable.
those have any kind of place in my life anymore. But
that's fair
I mean,
though.
I was a full-fledged adult when Twilight came out like that. There wasn't really a YA genre when I was a
Yeah.
teenager.
Yep.
So like I read adult books like Interview with the Vampire and VC Andrews and like all these things we should not have been reading, but
Yeah.
we were anyway.
Now
So
you're gonna go to chapters and let your daughter pick out whatever she wants.
Yeah. I mean,
well, she reads all her friends, they all read all the smut, and
yeah.
it's funny. And
Really?
oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. But
Wow.
I mean,
never.
I felt like I was, I don't want to say a badass, that's not the right word, but I felt like I was this sneaky girl. I don't even know what age was at that time, but reading 50 Shades of Grey. Because like at
Oh.
that time I
Yeah.
would like sneak it because my mom had all of them, and I'm like,
Hmm.
I gotta see what this is about, and I read
Seemed
them
so
all.
scandalous at the time. Yeah, now we
I
Yes.
was like, oh
like
my God, this is spicy.
now it's just tame compared to what.
Yes. No,
Yeah.
that is like pretty much a closed door romance in comparison
Yeah,
to
pretty
some,
much.
even though
Yeah.
it's very much an
Hmm.
open
Same
door
with
romance.
Flowers in the Attic actually, because I don't know.
Yeah.
I remember reading that and thinking it was just, and my friend and I did a buddy read a couple summers ago because we're like, how does it hold up after all these years? And yeah, it's interesting. It's a lot rapier than I remember it being. And I was like, whoa,
Okay. Right.
this is yeah.
Or reading
Anyways.
some of the Anne Rice books. I can't remember what it was,
Oh
The
yeah,
Sleeping
those ones
Beauty.
too, yeah.
And you
Mm.
kind of like start reading it and you're like, huh, this is a
Yeah, I
little
mean,
bit.
I read all of those. Like
Yeah.
that was yeah.
Yeah. I read a lot of
Um,
them too, and I get it.
Yeah.
But okay, what's on our.
Well,
Okay.
you've kind of talked about it already, but the style of writing that you tend to gravitate towards is more of that contemporary romantasy. Are there any other genres that you think about maybe expanding into, or you're currently writing into at all, or do you kind of have like your niche and you want to be in it?
no, no. I am actually writing, not even writing. I've done my first YA dystopian, which will come out next year.
Cool.
So if yeah, in the vein of Divergent and all those things, like it's gonna have. We're comping it right now. Gossip Girl meets Divergent, where it's
Oh,
like
I am into this. I love a good
focused on the
YA.
rich kids instead
I
of
love
the
that.
like underclass. Like, yeah,
Yep.
it's the capital, not Katniss.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that first book of that will be coming out next year. And then I also would like to do some dark, really dark romance at some point, probably under a pen name.
Fair.
Yep.
But
Fair.
yeah.
You know, though, I feel like this is something we'll have to talk about eventually, but there are some really good pen names that
Mm-hmm.
um you don't really understand what they are until like the end of a book because like I always go back to the exact same one, but um, maybe that's a discussion for another day. Or do you want to know?
Yeah, well, give us that one right now.
Okay, so Nisha, have you read the Mindfuck series?
No, I've heard of it, but I don't know, I
Okay,
haven't.
so it's written by another author, but her pen name was S.T. Abby. And then one of the well, the female male character um, is a serial killer, and her preferred method of killing is stabbing. And so Stabby, so Stabby is
Yep.
the pen name. And
Nice.
the second that that clicked, I was like, oh,
This is good.
I like it. Or Novocaine.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Novocaine.
It's wild.
There's so many directions you could go in with a pen name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So I think like based off of some of the books you've released over the years, what would be like one of your books that you would highly recommend to someone? And I know you'd highly recommend reading all of them, but which one, if you could only choose one, would you recommend?
I mean, it depends if they like fantasy or not, I guess. But I
Sure.
mean, Trial of the Sun Queen is my most popular book and a good gateway into my writing. And
Yep. I absolutely loved it. I ate that series
thank
up.
you.
You're welcome. I loved it. It was great. Okay, so thinking about the new book, what would you say to readers who loved Trial of the Sun Queen but were skeptical about your genre shift?
Well, there's been a few people who are like, I don't really read contemporary, and I'm like, that's okay. You don't have to if you don't
Yeah.
want to. But I think a lot of people have said though that they feel like all that sort of the angst, the like, I don't want to say enemies to lovers because I don't really think in office romance he's really your enemy. He's like rivals to lovers, but
Yeah.
sort of bringing the same feeling of the romance, whether it's contemporary romantasy. I think a lot of people who said, "Oh, I don't really read contemporary, but I read it," and you still, even though it's a totally different setting, you still brought that same flavor of like romance to the that different setting, and it still felt like my writing just in a different way. Yeah.
No, for sure. And I think my next question might need to be shifted a bit, but when you wrote this, how has writing rom-coms kind of changed how you approach fantasy? Or do you think that it would affect how you approach writing fantasy books? I mean, you did say that Not Safe for Work was written quite a ways ago, so I feel like this question is more if like you had just written it right
Mhm.
after fantasy stuff, but do you find that a lot of those pieces kind of intertwine, if that makes
Um,
sense?
I don't really think so. I mean, I don't know that it really influenced my fantasy in any way. Just because I feel like they're both kind of different, but also the same. It's just hard to say. Like
Yeah.
fantasy is easier in a lot of ways because you don't have to, you can like throw in some magic or a demon and you have a plot versus contemporary romance. You can't really do that. Like it's really all about the interpersonal dynamics and like what's happening to
Yes.
your two main characters. So you're really focused way more on just them. Whereas romantasy is part fantasy plot, part romance plot. So you've got like a
Mhm.
lot more stuff happening. But then when you're writing contemporary, it's shorter, A. Like
Hmm.
one Not Safe for Work was basically like Tale of the Heart Queen was double the word count of what one Not Safe for Work was. So like basically two books versus one makes it so different. And then like with contemporary, like things like metaphors are way easier because you can use modern references and stuff like that, right?
Hmm.
Versus
Yep.
contemporary or with fantasy, you need to be a bit more careful. I mean, I'm not big for anachronisms in fantasy. It's fantasy, it can be whatever it wants to be, but probably not going to talk about a Coca-Cola or whatever, right? Like that would take people out too much. But I'm not, ever really using like old-timey language because it's not based on any historical time period. It's fantasy, but with contemporary, it's a bit more, you have a lot more freedom with things like that, with language and things, because you can use modern references and things. So I don't know, maybe they kind of inform each other in some ways, but ultimately, like the romance itself, I don't think is that different. So you're still looking like I'm still trying to evoke the same feeling.
Yeah.
Whether the stakes are the world is going to end, we have to fuck or we'll die versus, it's more of a personal stake where I'm going to whatever and not safe for work with their jobs and that kind of thing. So yeah.
And I feel like more of the contemporary romance pieces fit into the romantasy, whereas I wouldn't necessarily say all of the romantasy pieces fit into rom-com. But I'd also say too, like there's a lot more like world building, and you have to remember a lot more things when you're reading a fantasy. I find like it's not one of those, oh, I can put it on while I'm doing other things and it just is background and I like know what's happening. It's ones that like I actually actively am sitting, I'm listening to, I'm not making notes, but I'm making like mental notes for things.
Following along a little
Yeah, so I find I find they're very different and I love them both in their own ways.
Awesome. How does writing a slow burn tension in a rom-com differ from building tension in a fantasy romance or like an epic plot?
Well, I think with the romantasy, you have way more time. I mean, with artifacts, it took 3 books for them to get there, right? Versus the contemporary, it's just 1 book, so we only have to wait like 40,000, 50,000 words ish, right? So there's definitely like a lot more build up, way more time to like figure each other out. Um, I don't know. And I mean, I like a slow burn for romantasy because like if they get together too quickly, then I don't know, I get kind of bored if it's all too easy and too quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, basically it's just like and again, like with romantasy, you've always got all this other stuff sort of happening around them. I mean, in a contemporary a bit too, but especially in a romantasy where to me, like the perfect romantasy is about 50-50. And that's kind of always what I'm aiming for. So there's always like lots of other stuff getting in the way. And it's not just about where you might have other POVs and stuff like that. Whereas versus in contemporary, you don't very often have any other POVs outside of the two main characters, right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Amazing. So I think that kind of summarizes and ends our first portion here that
Okay.
On this episode
as
here.
my brain
Yep.
malfunctions. So next episode, we are actually going to be diving into Nisha's book, Not Safe for Work. So make sure you guys join us next week as we dive into it.
Thanks again so much for coming out, Nisha.
My pleasure.